DVSA y Amigos de Seattle se unen para desarrollar una metodología participativa comunitaria basada en el Plan de Acción de Duwamish Valley. Junto a organizaciones locales de South Park, líderes comunitarios y residentes, trabajamos en identificar e implementar soluciones que respondan a las necesidades y prioridades más importantes que impactan a la comunidad. Continuemos construyendo comunidad juntos y sigamos fortaleciendo el trabajo colectivo. Sintoniza Amigos de Seattle Radio por www.adsradio.org.
About DVSA's Transportation Justice Leadership Project in the South Park neighborhood in South Seattle. This presentation was prepared by myself, Sophie Elliott, Xinyuan Hao, Sandy Ashak, and the DVSA team. So first, let's go over a brief summary of the project that we'll be talking about today. This project is focused on expanding upon our current and successful biodigester that already exists at the Food Lifeline in South Park to create a community-owned, clean transportation system, which ultimately turns local food waste into valuable resources. Some key components of this project include the conversion of food waste into both biogas, which can be used for fuel, and liquid nutrients, which can be used in home gardens or on local farms. This will be taking place in South Park and will be an expansion upon the one biodigester that already exists and will be done through the collaboration of DVSA and local community members. Ultimately, the goal of the project is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in the community, all while benefiting the community. We're going to take a step back here and talk a little bit about some of the bigger reasons for this project. So this project is really focused on moving the economy in South Park away from the traditional linear economy that we currently have towards a more sustainable circular economy that is regenerative. A linear economy is based on the model of take, make, use, and dispose, while a circular economy is focused on not allowing for materials to become waste in the first place and allowing for regeneration. This table shows some of the main differences between a circular economy and a linear economy. Some of the main highlights of the differences between the two are the way that resource use is viewed, how waste is managed, and what the product life cycle looks like. Ultimately, a circular economy is based on the encouragement of long-term cost savings and sustainability-driven innovation, while a linear economy is based on continuous production and consumption, which often leads to resource depletion.
Before we dive deeper into the solution, let's understand why this matters so much for South Park specifically. Our neighborhood faces significant environmental burdens. First, our PM 2.5 emissions measured at 0.59, substantially higher than the King County average. For those unfamiliar, PM 2.5 refers to tiny particles in the air that can cause serious health problems when breathed in. And we are also experiencing heavier traffic with approximately 170,000 vehicles compared to the county average level, which contributing significantly to our air quality issues. These environmental factors have led to concerning health disparities, including higher rates of the cardiovascular disease in our community. South Park had the highest rates of the hospitalization due to asthma compared to with any other neighborhood in the city. Most troubling of all, life expectancy in Georgetown and South Park is approximately 73.3 years, 8 years shorter than the city's average, and this stark differences reflects the real human cost of the environmental inequality. Next page. And so what exactly a biodigester? Simply put, it's a system that breaks down organic waste to produce biogas and nutrient-rich liquid fertilizer. Think of it as a high-tech recycling system specifically designed for food waste. It's essentially a natural way to turn food scraps into clean energy, similar to what happens in the cow's digestive system, but in a controlled environment. The exciting part is that this technology is already working successfully at Food Lifeline right here in our neighborhood. What we are proposing is expanding this proven system to create even greater benefits for South Park community. Currently, our food waste follows a simple but problematic path. It goes from our place to landfills, contributing to pollution and greenhouse gas emissions. But we are proposing a new way, directing that same food waste to our biodigester, which creates clean energy and multiple community benefits. This isn't just about waste management, it's about creating a circular economy right here in South Park. Our system puts waste to work for our community. Instead of being a problem we need to dispose of, our food waste becomes a valuable resource in a continuous cycle that benefits each one. Let me explain how the biodigester works in 3 simple steps. First, we collect food waste from local restaurants and homes, the scraps and leftovers that would otherwise go to landfills. Second, this waste undergoes natural breakdown in a sealed container where microorganisms digest from the food waste. Third, the process produces valuable outputs. First, the biogas, and then the liquid fertilizer can enrich local gardens. And importantly, no waste is left behind. Everything gets transformed into something useful. Our current pilot system at Food Lifeline is already demonstrating impressive results. In this diagram, the biodigester processes food waste from 10 restaurants and 20 residents from South Park. Then the waste is collected and brought to the biodigester facility at the Food Lifeline, where it undergoes the natural breakdown process. The biodigester then produces nutrient-rich liquid fertilizer, as we mentioned before, which is distributed to the Mara Farm and other agricultural initiatives in South Park. These farms produce local vegetables and fruits, which are then distributed back to local food establishments and residents, creating a beautiful, sustainable circle. And our current system can process between 25 to 40 tons of food waste per year. That's tons of waste that either ending up in landfills or contributing to our air quality problems, and instead is creating valuable resources for our community. This creative and influential project brings multiple environmental benefits to South Park. First is the reduced greenhouse gas emissions and the less waste in landfills, the clean energy production, and then they all improve the air quality. It directly addresses the air pollution issues that we discussed earlier and contribute to a healthier neighborhood for everyone. Beyond the environmental impacts, these projects create important social benefits. The local jobs created through the operation and maintenance of the system, and the lower energy costs for participating community members, and support for the local business through the circular economy, and then the community ownership of our clean energy solutions. Together, these benefits address both the environmental and challenges we face and the social economic factors that contribute to them. This is about creating a healthier, more sustainable South Park that's led by and its own community members.
Okay, the goal for our project is modeled by our neighbors in Vashon Island by the company Vashon Island Biodigester. Let's start with an overview of the project. They have a community-led project which turns organic waste into renewable energy and nutrient-rich compost, cutting landfill use and greenhouse gas emissions. The supporting the funding they have is backed by local organizations, public grants, and private donors. The project thrives on sustainable focused funding and partnerships. How it works. Organic waste is broken down anaerobically, producing biogas for energy and compost for agriculture, creating a full circle waste solution. The land collaboration is as an island as a whole, working with local land trusts. The project supports regenerative farming, soil health, and eco-friendly land management. The waste that's processed is food scraps, manure, yard waste, reducing emissions, while turning waste into valuable community resources. Mostly they're getting their scraps from a tofu processing company. The scraps that they're using are okra and wheat. This initiative approach makes Vashon Island a leader in sustainable communities. The impact that the biodigester has is it converts 60 to 80 pounds of waste into energy, equal to about 1 gallon of gasoline, promoting renewable energy, waste reduction, and local food sustainability. In the factory perspective, which is Island Springs Organics, they produce about 1 million pounds of tofu yearly. Now it's repurposed instead of being organic waste. The founder, who is Luke Lucosi, after 44 years of this vision, is thrilled to finally see it in action. So this is kind of a visual view of how their plan works. The food waste and organic materials from the food processor, retail stores, and farms is collected. Hyperlocal digesters break it down, producing biogas for energy and liquid plant for food agriculture. The compost is created and sent to farms to enrich the soil. Reduced food goes back into the food bank. Rescued food goes back into the food bank, while lower qualities of leftovers feed the pigs. The process closes the loop, supporting local food systems, reducing waste, and producing renewable energy. It's a smart, sustainable system that turns waste into valuable community resources. There's other places like Chicago and LA that are now using biogas in their communities. In Chicago, the biodigester works with microorganisms that break down over a 20-day period, producing filtered methane. This clean energy is then injected into the people's gas grid, providing a carbon negative renewable energy source for the community. The LA biodigester works the same as ours and creates sustainable energy for the community as well.
Okay, here's our detailed site proposal. As you can see, we've designed an efficient layout that includes the multiple biodigesters to scale up our processing capacity, and the dedicated biogas storage systems, the proper intellectual infrastructure, vehicle access and parking, and the integration with the surrounding community. This plan shows how we can efficiently arrange multiple biodigesters with appropriate space for biogas storage and the processing equipment and the accessibility for collection vehicles. The real power of this project comes from how it integrates with our broader community systems. You can see how food waste and local transportation work together in a comprehensive community solution. It begins with the food waste collection points at homes, restaurants, and retail locations. and the waste is transported to our biodigester, which produces both biofuel and liquid plant nutrients. But it doesn't stop there. The outputs create multiple community benefits. And the biogas can power community emergency generators, can fuel local shuttles, e-bikes, and e-scooters, and the nutrients support community farms and residential gardens. And these farms produce food that goes back into our local food system. To implement this system more broadly, we will use the collection bins and trucks that are already in preparation, and the biodigester container similar to the one at Food Lifeline, the gas storage system to safely capture and utilize the biogas, and the safety monitoring equipment to ensure everything runs properly. The processing capacity, as we mentioned before, about 25 to 40 tons of the food waste per year. And these images show you the actual equipment in operation, including the piping system and the storage facilities need to make this work efficiently and safely.
Great. Now I'm going to talk a bit about some of the proposed community actions for the South Park neighborhood. So the first proposed community action will be the powering of local vehicles. Both personal vehicles and public transportation can be converted to run on biogas instead of traditional fossil fuel-based gasoline. One key part of this community action is the proposed shuttle system that we have for the community to increase connectivity and transportation options for community members. Ideally, these shuttles will run on biogas created by the biodigesters and will help contribute to Washington's Clean Fuels Program goals. Kind of as Sandy mentioned a little bit, there are many other places, both domestically and internationally, that use biogas specifically to run their public transportation. For example, many of Los Angeles's public buses run on biogas, and a number of cities in Europe also rely on biogas to run their public transportation. Also, in many other countries, personal vehicles are often converted to run on biogas, including, again, many countries in Europe and in South America as well. Some places even offer tax incentives to use biogas-powered vehicles. Additionally, biogas that is created by the biodigesters can be burned in generators to generate electricity. This electricity could potentially be used to power things like electric scooters and electric bicycles, which provide additional transportation options to people in the community for shorter distance travel. The electricity that is generated by the generators that burn biogas can also be used to power electric cars. Ultimately, this also works towards the goal of reducing reliance on fossil fuels for both fuel and electricity reasons, and represents a more sustainable alternative. Finally, this project will offer a number of opportunities for the economic involvement of local community members through the creation of jobs. People will be needed to maintain biodigesters and public e-bikes and scooters, to convert engines to run on biogas, to operate the local shuttle, and so on and so forth. Thank you very much for listening.
DVSA y Amigos de Seattle se unen para desarrollar una metodología participativa comunitaria basada en el Plan de Acción de Duwamish Valley, junto a organizaciones locales de South Park, líderes comunitarios y residentes trabajamos en identificar e implementar soluciones que respondan a las necesidades y prioridades más importantes que impactan a la comunidad. Continuemos construyendo comunidad juntos y sigamos fortaleciendo el trabajo colectivo. Sintoniza Amigos de Seattle Radio por www.adsradio.org.